All right. What is going on, Banter fam? Welcome into Wednesday's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we will be diving deep into the crypto gaming market across the news space, as well as a new game that just went live that I spent a good amount of time on last night. That I want to cover the economy at the moment, kind of what the outlook looks like, the operations within the game, what you can do as a player, what you can do as an asset owner, stuff like that. And that'll be on the CyBall game, which just released. We also have the former YouTube head of gaming and Polygon CEO talking about the value of blockchain gaming. So we'll kind of dissect this article here and kind of take a look at the opinion that he has on the space. And then we'll also look at Raoul Paul saying that music NFTs are the future. And that's good to see him. He's always on his Ethereum high horse, right? So good to see him maybe looking at different spectrums here. And the music NFT space, I think, is definitely one to watch. So without further ado, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you gon' play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know you gon' play, but ain't a play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, always rocking with the intro song. So let's get into it. And we're in a new setting. So this is my new office. We're not anywhere near set up. We'll have a full backdrop here behind me. We got a hustle sign right here. We'll have the star lights up. So it'll all be set up hopefully by this time in the next few days. So hopefully by next week's shows, the entire setup is full, ready to go. But excited to be in a new environment, kind of just going into the shows in a new place, new office setting. We're going to do it up. We're going to make it all studio insulated, all that good stuff. So look for some changes in the studio. But let's get into it. And the first thing, like I mentioned, that we're going to get into is former head of YouTube gaming and Polygon CEO on the value of blockchain integration. And even the headline here speaks for itself, guys. Blockchain gaming is in its early stages. So there are natural volatilities in the space, right? So obviously, as I've mentioned over and over, these economies are going to fluctuate up and down. And you just kind of have to bear with the ones that you believe in. And as he mentioned, there is natural volatility in the space because, as in real gaming, players leave, money leaves games, player bases leave games, they go to new games, stuff like that. So that is just part of the game. In traditional gaming, even there's volatility in being a developer because you could have a lot of players 1 month, but the next game comes out or it's just not fun enough and the players actually leave the economy. So as he says, there is this natural volatility, but look at the alternative model for users, which is Web 2 gaming, right? Web 2 gaming, it's cash in and never cash out. And I love that quote right there. As you see here, the alternative model for users is cash in and never cash out. That's what we preach here on In the Game all the time. Is right now, all these economies in Web 2 gaming, it's just literally extracting money from the players. When you're buying a Fortnite skin, when you're buying a Warzone pack on the store, when you're buying something in Valorant, stuff like that, it's really just paying these big gaming corps and gaming studios out of your pocket and just furthering their bottom line at the end of the day. And you're not benefiting at all. And I love this cash in and never cash out. And as we see here, they have partnered with Beeple, Dolce & Gabbana, DraftKings, and OpenSea, and that's Polygon Studios. So they're definitely making a lot of moves. And I love to see that the Polygon Studios CEO, Ryan Wyatt, is super, super bullish on this, like just in the entire space. And I think that it's obvious, right? It's very obvious that when you look at the space, it's going to move to Web3 gaming. I think that there's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of time and just the amount of interest that's flooding to the space every single day is speaking for itself. As we see Nvidia, the CEO, saying we have high hopes for the metaverse, and I want it to be open to everyone. So basically, a very accessible metaverse experience. So on top of Polygon Studios CEO with the outlook, with Justin Kahn's recent outlook, for example. He recently stated that Web3 gaming is the future because of the in-game asset ownership, right? If you are going to buy something in a game economy like a World of Warcraft, something like that, you should actually be able to own that asset. It's just power back to the players. And then not only are these opinion leaders and thought leaders moving in the space, these actual corporations, other corps like Nvidia, and the list that we've gone through. I mean, Apple, Disney, the NFL, the NBA. There's so many different big conglomerates, corporations, businesses flooding to the space, and they're not buying Bitcoin, guys. They're not. Nobody's coming here today. Only the Michael Saylors and the few corporations out there that really want to just put crypto on the balance sheet are buying Bitcoin right now. The real money and the real interest is coming in on the metaverse, as we see here. And Nvidia obviously is a Fortune 500 company, as the 184th largest company right now on Fortune. So right now, all the interest moving in the space, forget about the short term. If you're a part of crypto gaming, you have to forget about the short term. For example, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, a hit game from about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. Even though it's a Call of Duty, sure, they made it in a couple years, right? It was the studios were flip-flopping games at the time, but quality takes time. They were working on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for 2 years, a year and a half, right? To actually put that live. And we're really infant in the space. Axie Infinity's run was just last year. So pump the brakes on the speed of things. And as the market churns the way that it's going, the economic conditions, we can't escape any of that stuff. But as a crypto gaming, if you're really niche down in this space, you have to focus on the development and what's being built. And there's economies popping up here and there. And there's so much institutional interest coming into the space that if you're just in tune, keeping your eye out for what's next and what's around the corner, if you're properly invested into the space, you will reap these rewards long term, 100% in the metaverse and gaming markets. And even from a non-biased perspective, it's all that I talk about. But across the whole sector, I think my highest conviction would be the metaverse. It would be crypto gaming across any sector right now. If I had to enter one for the next 5 to 10 years, it would 100% be the metaverse, and it would 100% be crypto gaming. And then let's take a look at, once again, another thought leader in the space, speaking about how he has been spending his time looking at music NFTs, and that's Raoul Paul. So Raoul Paul spending time looking at music NFTs, stemming from my conversations years back. And really, we're not going to dive too deep into this because he doesn't state much, and he kind of points to a certain project, and he says he knows it'll be big, etc. And we've talked about here how this is instead of power back to the players, it's power back to the audience of the artist. So let's say you buy a music NFT, you can actually reap the rewards from that and make royalties off of your favorite artists. For example, if you hit a Gala node, or if you buy a Snoop Dogg track on Gala Music, or if you utilize the other platforms out there like Opulus, Opal, or Royal, for example, where you can actually get these NFTs that actually produce royalties. You invest in your artists and you own your favorite music. As I've mentioned, like Nas recently did a drop. It did really well on Royal's platform. And as we see here, Gala, they have their Gala nodes, as well as the Snoop tracks being sold individually with the stash boxes. So this is definitely a movement that's picking up steam. At first, we saw like Tory Lanez get in and test the waters, and he really killed it, right? And showed music NFTs are there. And the market for them is definitely there. Now, these other artists like Snoop Dogg and Nas, for example, big players. And the thing is those guys are guys who set the tone in the space. Like Nas is huge, right? So is Snoop Dogg. These are cultural icons in their respective areas and in the rap genre. So the fact that these big OGs of the rap game, so to speak, are moving towards music NFTs makes me super bullish for the space. So just take a look at these upcoming platforms in the future, because once more music, and Meek Mill recently has mentioned, get your wallets ready because his next album will be on the blockchain. And he said also, no one can stop what he says or does on the blockchain, right? So when an artist has to submit an album, for example, they have to get it verified by Apple Music and Spotify that it's good to go, right? Everything in the world censored these days, right? everything in the world is censored these days. So even these artists, you have to submit your album and it has to get put through a vetting process to get put on the platform. Unless you're like a Drake or a Kanye, they'll put your, they probably don't even have to listen at that point. They'll just put it up. But, not every artist gets to just freely put their stuff up and say exactly what they want to say. Decentralize, bring it to this decentralized world, and that takes that element off the table. There's no censorship in decentralization. So these rappers can continue to, do what they want. And Meek Mill is the next one to look for. I'm going to tell you this right now. Look for Meek Mill to drop an album on the blockchain in the next couple of months because he's hinting at it to get your wallets ready. And I think that that's legit. He's not playing around. He's big into NFTs. He's big into crypto. So keep your eyes out on that. And some Ultra news. So Ultra's been kind of quiet despite actually moving up in price the past few days. And as we see here, it's actually holding pretty steady around $1.30. It's up another 7% today. And the fluctuations over the 7-day, it's kind of been, like I said, around this $1.30 range, give or take. It's dipped and it's come back up. But Ultra announces a new partnership with play-to-earn game Cross the Ages, a new free-to-play Metaverse game, which is a trading card game where you own your NFTs. Yet again, adding to the arsenal of games that are lining up on Ultra. So with Ultra, really in 2022, they've announced a couple game partnerships. They're putting all the trailers up on their YouTube of the games that are going to be coming onto the platform. But on top of that, the biggest thing they've done is put out that roadmap, which just encompasses everything that they're doing, from the NFTs to the game marketplace, to everything on their platform, the exclusive games. There's so much that they're going to be offering, the exclusive wallet as well on the US blockchain. So much that Ultra is going to be doing. And it's great to see the relative strength, right? Bitcoin's up today, 1%. So some coins will be up naturally, but Ultra is just so solid. The utility, everything that they're doing, I absolutely love this project. And it's just good. Another game onboarding. And as I've mentioned, they already have about 27 games lined up to distribute on Ultra. And by the end of the year, their plan is to have 50 to 75 games lined up to launch on Ultra. And you could only imagine if 5, 10, or 15 of those games even have solid player bases, there's your infrastructure of players, right? As long as some of these games over time show quality and bring in player bases, that's all that matters. That brings that influx of user bases to the Ultra app. And just keep your eyes on it. Ubisoft is one of their partners. Ubisoft is also pressing forward the agenda of blockchain gaming. I don't think it's far-fetched to maybe think at some point, maybe in the future, years from now, that Ubisoft could test maybe releasing some of their games on Ultra. So keep this in the back of your mind, because these partnerships all add up, right? You have to kind of weigh what is the upside potential of some of these partnerships. I think the upside there, as far as the Ubisoft side, would be bringing games like Ghost Recon or Tom Clancy games, anything like that, Assassin's Creed to the blockchain. If you made those distributable on Ultra, or even if they're not blockchain integrated, as Ultra's doing, they're going to be able to distribute Web 2 games. So some of these studios hopefully start seeing the value whenever maybe Ubisoft gets more involved. And Ultra's kind of at the forefront of leading the way on that movement. Another project that's up today, up 15% today, back almost at 11 cents at the moment. Up 16%, and that is Mobland, formerly Sin City. And the reason for that is they got a new centralized exchange listing today on Bybit. So Bybit did list the Mafia Metaverse today, and that is Mobland. And obviously one of my favorite upcoming projects. I absolutely cannot wait for stage 1 of this game. I just think that this is going to be a home run. And it'll be the closest thing to a Grand Theft Auto or a Saints Row, or if Saints Row and Grand Theft Auto bred a baby that was a video game, this would be it. It would be Mobland, for example. The graphics, the business side of things that you can do, as Roy hinted at, the vegetation, as he called it, the vegetation businesses. Great interview with Roy a couple weeks back, too, if you missed that, from Mobland. Really good insights on the economy, too, as far as what the syndicate economy is going to bring to the table. But I can't wait for this game. And now that this lawsuit thing, where they were having a lawsuit issue with their name, they changed to Mobland. It's now full speed ahead, and they're just going to keep developing and pressing forward for their release. All right, guys, let's get into the bulk of the show today. And we have a lot to cover, and it's just day one, so I can't do an earnings guide. Earnings aren't live technically for 2 weeks. You can claim your first earnings in 2 weeks, right? So no earnings talk. It's not really anything to do with how much you can make within the economy. We're just going to go over today CyBall. It's now live. So CyBall is the official game is now live on both Windows and Android. So you can download them right on your computer. Also, you can download it on your Android devices. As I say, we want to thank everyone along the journey, and we'll see you on the field. And I have gotten some fair share of matches in. I'll even show you the menu interface, the game, and all that good stuff here in just a second. But as we see here, the CyBall update for their first 24 hours, super successful. Super successful. Day one highlights 6,000 users. That's strong, guys. That's strong. And it's not on iOS yet. And they only had a Windows downloadable version when I checked it. So, if they brought it to Mac compatible also with iOS, it's going to be a home run as far as bringing on more users, right? Bringing on more users. So 6,000 users day one, 22,000 matches played. And on day one, people already have accumulated 210,000 of the CBT tokens, which are the earnings token for the CyBall economy. They've also squashed major bugs as well as a new build. So they updated it to kind of revamp the experience. There was a couple of bugs up front, for example, as they say, less than 24 hours into the launch. And this was like right away. They had 5K users and 10K matches. As we see over 24 hours, that grew to 6,000 users and 22,000 matches played. So when you look at CyBall, it's a turn-based, football-themed, NFT-based game with play-to-earn mechanics, and it's really super fun, guy. When you take a look at the game, I'll just fast forward here real quick. This is the interface. It's turn-based soccer. This is my team. This is the opponent's team, and I'll show you a full match here in just a second. But let's get back over here to the website. As you see here, they are partnered up with so many different guilds, and I prefaced this when weeks ago, I brought up CyBall. I brought up CyBall last week to look out for this game, and we talked about it yesterday. And my common sentiment on this game is that the guilds are lining up at the door to get involved here. And I think that has a good implication of the potential of the economy, because the guilds are here to make profits, right? The guild doesn't care if they shift their money from this game to that game. For example, if the earnings here are better than there, they will 100% move their money there to reap those rewards and get the maximum earnings from their scholarship economy, right? So when you take a look at this game, it's got a really easy turn-based appeal. It's really got like simple appeal. It's got that 3 versus 3, just like Axie Infinity. You just choose your 3 side blocks here. So I put my team here, 3v3, and it's turn-based. And you use abilities, these little cards at the bottom, and you kind of choose each turn basically is a different specialty. So as you see here, lining up an exhibition 3v3, I choose my strategy. I chose ultra offensive because, we're full sending. We're not going to play passive. I'm not Atletico Madrid. We are not going to sit back on our heels and wait for them to bring the attack to us. We're not going to play a brick wall game here. Okay, Hustle doesn't play like that. Hustle plays full speed ahead. So that's how I played it. Maximum ultra offensive, and he went ultra defensive. And I believe it doesn't work out too well for them in the end. I believe I come out victorious on this one. But you choose your abilities. And so this one here, I'll kind of point out just to give you an idea. At the top left, it says the key event for this round. The key event for this round is physical and tackling. So you want to choose your best physical and tackling players here. And you can choose an ability to potentially boost your turn or boost what your players are doing, for example. So let's just take a look here at the turn. So this was turn number 1. And we'll get through this whole match. It's a 5-minute match, but I'll eventually fast forward it here, show the last goal, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the format, what it looks like when you win a match, and just kind of the full game flow. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. I believe I stopped this one. Yeah. So I really enjoyed this game more than other games because I'm a sports fan. I love American football. I love European football or soccer or, however you want to term it, football, soccer. I love basketball, baseball. You could talk sports with me any given day of the week, just like I can talk crypto gaming. So sports games definitely bring my appeal up, right? And if you're not a player, let's just say this doesn't look fun, yada, yada. Crypto games are so boring. Well, they do have a loan system, just like Pegaxi, where you can have assets and you can rent them out for a profit share. You literally just put the profit share for your scholar or the player using your assets, and you can utilize it that way. So there's ways to get involved in all these different economies without having to be a gamer. And as you see, I score on that play right there. And I just love this way more than an Axie Infinity or any of these other games. I can get way more into this than anything like that, or these other turn-based battle games. Those just don't pique my interest past like a few weeks, right? I'll play some, but then it's just like I eventually just stop playing it, right? It wears down and you just don't have fun. This was legitimate fun, and you can level up your players. Each player, like as you see on the left side, they're all level 1s right now. But you can level them up over time, because I just hopped on last night to try to get some footage for some gameplay. So I see Hustle. How are the earnings right now? We won't know for a couple weeks. So the first cash out period is 2 weeks from the game launch. So in 2 weeks, we'll have an earning guide ready to go for this economy. But right now, this looks really good. As I got scored on there. I'm just going to fast forward to when it's 1-1 down the stretch. I believe I score on this turn and win the game. This next one here. So yeah, it looks really good, and it's actually fun. It's engaging. It's something that like 1-1, right? It's 1-1. It's on the last turn here. I had to go CR7 in the Champions League, UEFA Champions League level clutch. My guys had to absolutely come through and put the game on ice. No draws around here, right? No draws. So the final turn's about to take place. And what I used here was the goalkeeper glitch. So I saved this card where it actually brings down the save ability of the other goalkeeper. So every ability does something for your team or against the other team. So on the very last turn, I utilized a card that brought down the save ability of the opponent's goalkeeper. And as you see here, it shows the XP gained. All my guys at this point were a level 1. And you see here the CBT tokens, right? So here I earned 2.4, 2.4, and 2 tokens. So why the difference, right? You might be asking, why the difference? Well, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and legendary characters all earn at a different multiplier rate. So bronze earn at a 1-to-1 rate, which is 2 per game, for example, for a win. Let's just say like I just got there. But then silver is a 1.2 times multiplier, as you see here. So there's a multiplier on every single character class for your earnings. So that's why there were different variations of the earnings there, for example. So the legendaries actually have a 7x multiplier. That's crazy. The legendaries are pretty expensive on the marketplace. And if you need a little more breakdown, each CyBall character, they actually have traits and effects. So like you can't see these. They're super small. The intention, I just wanted to point these out because they're very important, right? So there's common traits like team player, show off, where you kind of do like flashy moves, all rounder, pro defender, stuff that gives your CyBall player actually not utility. They all have utility. They're all assets in a game. They give them extra strengths, right? So Sergio Ramos is like a defensive player, right? For example, CR7's an attacker. So it gives them those type of traits that makes them an expert at certain parts of the field. And then you have rare and super rare abilities. So very cool, all the different things that go into the CyBall characters. As well, you take a look at the mentoring program. And they call the CyBall characters CyBlocks. So I'll call them CyBlocks to be appropriate. But basically, at least a 5-day-old CyBlocks can mentor junior CyBlocks, passing on their classes and traits. And junior CyBlocks are freshly minted NFTs on the blockchain and also new characters within the game. So they do have a breeding mechanism. And as you see here, you'll be able to take a look at the mentoring. So that's what they're going to, in the real soccer world, right? You're a young prodigy, you're 18 years old, you come into Manchester United in today's stage, and you're like, wanting to look up to Cristiano Ronaldo, right? You're an attacker and you're like, Ronaldo's on my team. I want to look up to him. So that's the kind of wording they're going for there. I love the twist on breeding, mentoring, because like I said, I'm a sports person. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So there's all the cost here laid out for whenever the breeding and the mentoring does go live. I'm looking forward to that, as well as there's a loan program. So I mentioned, guys, you don't have to sit here and play games all day to earn, right? If you want to just get involved in the economy, I believe the characters are around $200 to $300 on the floor. And then as you go up to silver, gold, that type of stuff, you'll have to spend a little more, for example. But there's actually a loan system here where you can take a look. You can actually rent out at a 50% split, for example, 50-50 for a scholar to rent out your Cy blocks and play for you. And it's the same kind of thing as Pegaxi. You cash out every 2 weeks. And that's exactly what this economy is doing. Every 2 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, the earnings will be first claimable, for example. I've had a lot of fun in this game, guys. And I think you could take a look at the white paper to get a little more details as far as the classes, the traits, the skills, because they all add up. And when you're taking a look at characters, you want to make sure that they have good traits such as shooting, dribbling, passing, physical. You want to make sure you have a well-rounded squad, because in a match, you could get thrown a variation of challenges or things that you have to compete with, and you never know what strengths you're going to need. So as they'll have like their key talents and stuff like that. I will have a full guide on this. Because this has been a fun game, literally. I could actually like see myself playing a couple of these a day, right? Like this is something I don't mind. Like it's very fun. It's competitive in a different nature. It's not 1 versus 11 horses on Pegaxi, right? It's 1 versus 1. It's me versus another person on the pitch, right? We're battling it out on the pitch for the CBT tokens. So I have had a great time with this economy so far. As far as the first 24 hours, I think that they're doing a lot of things really well. If you want a little more in-depth overview on the economy, stuff like that, you can take a look at their Medium page, launch details, ecosystem, and stuff like that. But I will fully cover all of this stuff in the next few days. And on Friday's show, maybe we even play some CyBall. Maybe we even just do some live matches, not some pre-recorded match, right? So maybe like we played Pegaxi a while back, we can actually hop on CyBall and get some games in. And hopefully I can show up like Lionel Messi that day and not show up like a downfall. So, we'll have to win some games for the Banter fam if I go ahead and get that taken care of. What chain is this on, Hustle? Great questions. It is on the Binance Smart Chain. This game is on Binance Smart Chain. And yes, I saw someone ask, you need to have a full team to play. So you would need 3 Cy blocks to play. So the floor to get in is anywhere from like $600 to $800-ish on the floor level for a full team. The earnings capability, we don't really know yet. Full disclosure, I've had my characters for a few weeks now. They were a little bit cheaper than they are now. But I did buy 2 more characters last night. So I did stack up more characters last night because I enjoyed the game, for example. So we'll cover this much more. I'm going to move on because this game, along with the others that we have been actively involved in, I will definitely get the word out on these projects and let you know if the loan system is profitable, if it's more profitable to just play a few games a day, for example. So we'll cover all that here and more on In the Game. So let's rapid fire to close out the show. And I wanted to take a look at Seedify's IGO calendar. So Seedify, the official launch pad of In the Game, the top launch pad in the space. No bias involved on that. They literally produce just the best projects out of their launch pad. And even in a slow month, the market's down and not a lot of projects like to IDO or IGO during a slow market. You have to remember that. I'm really liking some of the projects that they're going to put out. Finally, Animalia has been delaying. They're still to be announced. So we're looking forward to Animalia. But one that kind of resonated with me really well because we've been racing these horses. We recently got involved with the mining crabs. Now we got the Cy blocks. Right? So what about Shark Race Club? So I looked into this project, right? Shark Race Club is the world's first NFT project with a rarity upgrade, play-to-earn gaming metaverse. And first and foremost, I hate when people say the first ever play-to-earn something. It's like, that's probably not right, but it's okay. Marketing tactics, whatever. But it's a shark racing game, just like they pointed out to be. And it honestly gives me a Pegaxi type of vibe. It's got futuristic type of settings, and they line up these mechanical sharks, and it really just reminds me of Pegaxi. So I kind of resonated with this one quite a bit because it's close to home right now with what we're doing. Here's a small footage of the gameplay, right? So right here, I think is kind of what you could expect from the gameplay. It looks really cool. it looks really cool. I can't lie. So I'm going to do a little more research on this one as far as the gameplay and stuff like that, and kind of what to expect from this one. But this one looks a little more interactive because like you're actually firing at the opponents. If you see, like you're attacking, they actually, you don't actually, it's not a simulation race. You can tell that you're actually controlling these characters. And it's like Mario Kart. Someone takes the lead on you. You actually shoot them down and they're temporarily spinning out while you take the lead, for example. So who knows? We might be shark racing. We might be shark racing, pretty soon, along with our horse racing. And well, they might call animal control on us with the crabs, the horses, the freaking sharks. Who knows? We're doing a lot of really, really out of the box things over here in the game on Crypto Banter. But I'm looking forward to that one. I'll definitely check it out. But take a look at this one. I think this one launches in 6 days. So actually, I'll do some more research in the in-between time, see kind of who's behind the project a little more, and if their development and game history, stuff like that, because it looked really good. And I think that it's worth vetting a little more. And that would be a fun one to just degen and play on the stream. I know that would be fun. And last but not least, guys, yesterday on the show, I said 2,000 likes and we got to 1.5K. Okay, we got to 1.5K. So I said today, if we didn't reach 2,000 on yesterday's show, we would do 1.5K today. So 1.5K on today's show. 24 hours from now, if I look at the stream, this show, and it is 1.5K, thumbs up, like the show, hit the like button. We'll give away one of the Rebel bots here on the stream, but also go over to crypto_banter on Twitter and retweet, follow, and enter the giveaway on Twitter. We're going to give one away on Twitter. We're going to give one away on the show. So 1.5K likes on this show. We'll give one away on the show tomorrow. And head over to the Twitter. Honestly, compared to the last few giveaways we did, with, like, for example, the Clementine's Nightmare whitelists, or when we gave away those Angry Ape armies, for example, there was a lot more entries. So, even though there's 488 entries, your likelihood here over thousands and thousands of people is actually a lot higher based on the last couple of giveaways. The entries are much higher. So enter the giveaway, and we'll give one away on tomorrow's show at 1.5K likes. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe for more in the game every single day. Later this week, we will get into some CyBall, and we'll actually take our talents to the pitch and see what we can do, deliver some wins for the Banter fam live on stream. But until then, I'll be back tomorrow. Play well, my friends.